Guten Tag, friends. Welcome back to another episode of the Abhi Singh Perspective Gym podcast. I think I want to rename the pod. We're going to start with a couple of changes to the podcast today. So the first change is I want to rename the pod. Everybody's getting confused by the name. They think it's a workout podcast. It's not a workout podcast, obviously, although, as I've said before, I wouldn't mind attracting the audience. The second thing is I'm going to find a different language to greet you guys in every week. And I should be able to do that for a while because if I do one pod a week for every year, that's 52 different greetings a year, right? And I'm pretty sure there's like 150 languages in India alone. So, languages shouldn't be too hard to find. It should be in stock, if you will. I don't believe that I'm actually going to be able to get 150 greetings out of the Indian languages though, because it's like how, even though there's 150 languages, like how different could they all be, right? Like it, with all the people living like that close together, it seems like the languages would just be kind of like offshoots of each other. They'd be very similar. And I'm going to look this up. I'm going to look up how many languages there actually are here. Okay, so there's 121. And it's like, I don't think they can all be different. They have to be similar somewhere, right? I think India is definitely stat padding their language count. They're like the Russell Westbrook of language counts. So anyway, what's been going on this week? I had the last week off, which is why I haven't posted so frequently, and I ended up going down to Florida and ended up going down to Miami in a turn of events, which, Miami is a beautiful city. South Beach is amazing. It's gorgeous, right? I mean, you got the white sands, the blue water. It's like straight out of one of those spy movies where the main character, the spy dude, he ends up betraying his home country's government to go pursue his love life with a female spy from the other country, and they end up ditching their respective governments and moving away to an island where there's like a beach or something. And that's the beach I'm talking about. Like that's really what it looked like. Except usually they have the island to themselves. There were a good amount of people on this island. How accurate? Like how many times have spies actually abandoned their agencies for that reason? I don't know. Because spy, he goes through like years of training, years of like mental training, years of combat training. He knows everything about his government. I'm assuming he loves his country because, like, who signs up for that job without really loving their country? I could be wrong. And then at the end of it all, he's just like, yeah, you know what? I think my penis is right about this one. Like, how many times does that happen? But anyway, Miami, it's a gorgeous place, right? But two things about Miami. You don't want to go there without money. My uncle took me. Shout out to my uncle. And you don't want to go there without friends. I originally had a Florida trip planned with some friends, but they ended up backing out or whatever. But of course you don't want to go with friends, right? I'd rather go to Miami with friends than with money. Because if you're alone with money, you just end up doing things alone, maybe hitting up a couple of bars, but you go with friends and no money, you can bond over how expensive the place is, right? $20 for 2 tacos. Are you those prices are ridiculous. And everyone kind of resonates. And you kind of bond over that. And when you do end up blowing $15 on a burrito, you're like, well, you know what? This place was value, and we're a good group, and we chose a good place to go eat because we're so smart with our money that we're so smart that we chose to vacation in Miami. But it is a gorgeous place. But even when you're alone, there's still things that you can kind of do and see. Like I visited this shopping mall in Miami downtown, and I don't think I walked into any of the stores. I felt like I was too poor, but it's still cool around to walk around, see, be like, oh, okay, this is what rich people do. And although there's a little bit of saltiness to that. At the same time, you're like, okay, I want this. I kind of see now. I can understand more of why people choose to live materialistically, and that's a new experience. So that's pretty much it about Florida. Last night I happened to catch the last quarter of the Hawks Knicks game. Of course, Trae Young owns that arena. He is so good. He is so good. I mean, every time the Hawks aren't having that great of a season, right? We're 10th in the play-in. I'm hoping the Nets move up to the 7th or the 6th seed to kind of, and if they do, I really do think we can make that eighth seed, and then maybe go to 6 games against Miami, because I mean, damn, they are a complete team. But we're having a rough season, but people are just too quick to flake. They're just too quick to flake. They don't understand that we have one of the best young cores in the league still, and we just need to make a couple of more moves, have a couple more players. Like, we're almost there to, I think, really being contenders. But now, after every time we lose a game, people are calling for trades. They want to trade John Collins. Some of them even want to trade Trae Young. They don't understand how rare of a talent Trae Young is, how hard it is to get a guy with that kind of offensive IQ. So to those people, shut the fuck up. All right, you don't know what you're talking about. The NBA overall, though, I mean, the playoffs this year are gonna be so good. They're gonna be so fucking good. There are so many good teams, especially in the East. The West is pretty weak this year. I've pretty much got it's. I think from the beginning of the season, after the Lakers started started the decline, people knew it was gonna be the Warriors or the Suns, right? And right now I'm leaning Suns because Curry just got injured. But the East is so stacked. It feels like you want to lean towards the Bucks because they just won, but then you have the Sixers with their pretty dynamic duo. Although I don't have the Sixers coming out of the East, and I can debate you on that. And then you've got the Nets, who are the 8th seed, I think, but KD just got back. Looks Kyrie, and it's technically an advantage for them to be one of the 4 lower seeds, right? So they can play away so that Kyrie can play. Although the Nets could just pay, it's $3,000 a game to have Kyrie play in home games. And it's why wouldn't you do that? That's at most, no, because you're the 8th seed. So that's at most $9,000 a series, which you probably make off one seat that's remotely close to the court in the arena, selling one of those seats. So it's why wouldn't you do that? It's obviously going to be a great return on your investment. But if you ask me, I've got the Bucks coming out of the East. I know most people have the Sixers. I know. But history repeats itself. People are so quick to jump on this superstar bandwagon. Listen, the Sixers are a really good team. And yeah, Harden and Embiid are clicking. But just don't be so quick to jump on it. You don't know. I think they're still in that honeymoon phase. And did you see that ridiculous stat? It's they make more free throws than field goals, which is just ridiculous. And I think those kind of calls are going to be going down in the playoffs. People have this tendency. They see too much. For as much as people roast the analytics, I think NBA fans are pretty analytical themselves. It's almost like they see just NBA players as numbers, just digits. They see the Sixers, right? Embiid's a 10. Harden is let's call him a 9. And then they look at the Bucks and they're Giannis is a 10, but Middleton is a 7. And they're well, 19 is more than 17. I've got the six. Like that's genuinely how people think, and it's like that's not how basketball works. Like you don't just start winning just because you start stacking the top tier talent, and well, hell, that's why so many of you lose your your sports bets. I don't like sports betting. I understand people have made a lot of money off it, right? They got lucky, or maybe it was calculated, but I think you really lose your appreciation for the other parts of the game, which really glue a team together. And I've seen way too many dudes that sports betting, it really activates their inner racism. Right? They'll bet on a player. That player isn't doing it. It's like, well, what are you black for? And, I mean, it is just ridiculous. But this is going to be one of the shorter episodes. Yeah, one of the shorter episodes in some already very short episodes. Not really a lot going on this week, and not too many funny ideas out there. But again, if you're listening, thank you for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.